The next part of doing a four-wheel alignment is establishing the thrust angle. And by that, I mean, if this is your car, you're going to make sure that your wheels are pushing it straight rather than off to the side. That's your thrust angle. It needs to be straight in line with the center line of the car. So, how do you establish the center line of the car? It's not easy because nothing's flat, nothing's straight. What I have done, I'm using a laser. I have a laser level that shoots a vertical line. I set it up behind the car, and I picked 2 points on the car that are the center, and I'm going to try to zoom in here, and maybe the camera will compensate for the light, but I don't know. Yeah, there it is. What that is, and I'm dead center on it, is the bolt that holds it's on the cross member, and it holds the snubber bushing that supports the rear end. That should be the center of the car. And then, hopefully I can get this, but up in the front, and I'm going to have to raise the camera so it's going to get jiggly here. Up in the front of the car, that right there, you see the transmission pan. Now you can't use that as the center because on these C3s, the engine is actually mounted a little bit off center, and so is the transmission. But if you look beyond that, I've got a white paper towel, and the paper towel is just there to help me aim when I'm back here, but it's in the center of the hole in the front cross member that's in the center of the cross member. So that should be the center line of the car. So I've got that laser, and it took a little bit of doing, but I've got the laser so that I am centered on that hole in the front of the front cross member, and in the hole for the snubber bushing, which is centered on the rear cross member. So I think that's as good as I can do. Now, how am I going to use that? If you notice right here, I've got a piece of tape on my lift, and you can see the laser line pointing to it. And I'm going to mark that line as the center of the car, and then I can measure to and from as long as I don't move the car. I can measure left and right from that to get the parallel lines I need to do the rest of the alignment. Likewise, up in the front of the garage, and I'm going to show you under the lift because that's easier to show because nothing gets in the way. That laser line is on the far wall. And I have a piece of tape up higher, which you can't see from here because of the cars in the way and the lift and the bridge jacks and all that. There's a piece of tape there. I am going to mark that as the center line, and then I'll have a reference point to the center of the car up in the front. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back. Okay, what I need now is some way to somehow be able to attach my laser level, which has a laser pointer on it. If you can see it on the wheel there. See that dot, the red dot at about 5 o'clock on the wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on that wheel, and I'm going to aim it toward the wall back there. And try to somehow get it marked so that I can measure between it. So what I'm going to do first is just put this on the wheel, and I can see I'm about 2 inches over from, there's a line on the front wall. I'm going to go put a piece of tape right about there, and I'm going to see if I can somehow get that thing marked. Was seen on the walls actually a seam in the chipboard that I have on the wall. See how that is. Looks to be about 3/4 of an inch in from the edge. I want to make this something that I can pick on and off. So I'm going to use a little piece of black tape on top of that green tape and try to just get it lined up with the edge of the black tape so I can see it. And then if not, I'll move a little bit till I get it done. If I can't get I can't figure out how to and that black tape stretched and has a curve. I'll have to make sure that I line that dot with the I had a piece of, that's pretty close. Okay, that's a little bit. A bit to the right of it. I'm going to take a second piece of black tape and try it on the other side. And I'm trying not to stretch this one so it's straight. So my point is, I'm going to do this whatever way I can to get it marked on here. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. And I will measure the distance from that center line to wherever I have it marked here. And I'll see then how straight I am. But from here, that looks like that's right on the edge of that black tape. So I will find a way to hook that on there so that I can put it on there and go up close and make sure that that is very accurate, because I can't be sure from this distance. All I can tell is that it's pretty close. But since I don't have bungee cords with me to hook that onto the wheel, I'm just going to do the best I can for now. And so, looking at the center line to there looks to be almost 3 feet exactly. So probably a shade over, but for now that's close enough, because all I'm trying to do is establish my thrust angle, make sure, and the way you adjust it is to move shims on the front of the trailing arm. So, and you can't get it 100% accurate, because the trailing arm shims only come in, you know, I forget what the thicknesses are, but I'm going to say like a 1/16 of an inch is the smallest one. So you can only move it a 1/16 of an inch at the trailing arm, which is going to move it way more than a 1/16 of an inch way out front. But you need to get both of those close as you can. That should be about where I'm trying to aim the dot, the laser. Okay. This first shot is just a rough idea where to put the green tape so that I can narrow it down. I didn't have a good angle on the camera. There's the green tape, and you know what, I left the camera running while I went and put that up and went to get some black tape. So I think maybe I'll just not put that piece in the final video that goes. Okay, that looks like I missed where they having a hard time seeing from here because my eyes aren't that good. I have a cataract in one of them. So I'm going to put another piece of green tape up there and put a piece of black tape so that I have a reference to narrow it down. So I added a piece of green tape, a piece of black tape, and like I said, I have trouble seeing this, but I'm going to go put another piece of black tape up there. Just to see how far off I am. I've left a gap in between the two pieces of black tape. Not much different than the width of the laser dot. And I cannot tell. You know what, maybe I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna zoom way in on that and record it. When I go view these videos tonight, I can see how far off it is. Actually, it looks like that I can see the viewfinder or the looks like the center of that dot is pretty much the center of that, or the edge of that black tape on the left. So I'm going to measure from there to my center line and see what that gives me. Because if it's, you know, just looking at it, it looks like they're not too far apart. So, you know, if that would be a quarter of an inch different, then maybe that's good enough for the thrust, because then you have to adjust toe in, toe out, and that might make a difference right there. Okay, because of the hook on the end of this rule, I'm going to start like I did on the other side. I did show you that I lined that up with 2 inches so that that hook wouldn't be throwing it off because of the angle. Oh, and this is 37 9/16 maybe. It's reading 37. So that's really 35 9/16. I'm going to remeasure the other side and get a more accurate number there. But I can tell you that it's pretty darn close for just throwing some shims in there. Okay, we're looking at about 38 and so subtract 2, 36 and 3/32. But what I want to do now that I thought of it on this side is I want to focus, take my laser dot over to the other side and zoom in real close like this to make sure that that tape is actually accurate, because I didn't do that. Okay, those are the passenger side black tape marks that I put up there. Let's see how accurate maybe I was. And I have the light on this side of the shop. I didn't have it on the other side. I'm not sure what that does to the dot, but I am going to see what we got here. See if I can get up by looking at the I'm looking at that, and that would actually make that measurement a little bit bigger here, because I was measuring from the edge of the black tape. I should have been measuring from where the center of that dot is. So I'm going to call that 36 1/4, and the other was 35 9/16. So the next thing I will do, and I'm about ready to wrap it up for today, the next thing I will do before I go making adjustments on this, I am going to check what my toe in on each side is, because that may affect the adjustment that I want to make. In order to make the thrust angle right. Let's just say as an example, if the toe in on the driver's side is absolutely correct, then I will want to, that would mean that the toe in here is probably actually toed out, and I will want to move shims from the inside of the trailing arm to the outside, and that will bring the wheel more to the center of the car. If they're both out, but one is out further, then, maybe I say, okay, I have to adjust them both, but I have to adjust one or the other more than the other one. So, but considering that I just grabbed a stack of shims and tossed them in each side of that because this was an all-new trailing arm. I wasn't reusing the trailing arm that was there. I'm amazed that it's this close. So, like I said, I am just going to call this a wrap for now, but basically you can see how I went about determining the center line and then determining which way each rear wheel was pointing from that center line. So I'll review the videos, and I'll probably, next time I come down to work on this, I'll be prepared to measure my toe in, toe out on the rear wheels and see what adjustments I need to make.